Hey there, YouTube. WhiskeyCactus here, welcoming you back to our Heart of the Woods Let's Play. This is episode number 15, and last time we got all the way here, and we are about to finish this game. I actually recorded both the last episode and this episode as a single episode, but it wound up being like an hour and a half long, and so I'm probably going to be cutting it into half, and if I do, I will be using this as the intro, so let's jump right in and pick up where we left off. Okay. I think we're finishing it in this episode. I think we're gonna have to. Now, do you understand? Everything that you've done still wasn't enough, even cheating death itself. Now join them. Barely on the periphery of my awareness, I can see magical energy coalescing behind her, the spell that's intended to end my life. I need to react. I need to move out of the way or do something, but I can't. I'm frozen. I can't tear my gaze away from the sight of Morgan and Tara. I couldn't protect them either. I couldn't save them. Maybe I deserve this, too. I wasted the second chance I was given. Maybe I... Wait. Another presence cuts through the haze of my mind, giving me a sudden spark of clarity. Madison. Oh, it's Abigail. She must have been calling my name for a while. Oh my god. Madison, it isn't real. You aren't alone. No, her words cut through my despair like a hero's sword. I lock eyes with her, and I welcome her into my own head. She's so vibrant, so present that she forces out Evelyn. Everything that I was feeling just moments before, all of the fear and horror is swept away, and it's replaced with only one thing. Love. Oh, it's fucking Disney bullshit. She helps me make myself again. She helps make me myself again. Time itself has stopped, or rather, it doesn't exist here. Right now, we're the only two people in the universe. I'm aware that this is only a vision and not reality, yet somehow, it's more than that. Perhaps it's a different kind of magic. We're surrounded by light, stars flicker, watching us to see what will happen next. I witness both myself and Abigail, but it's not just the versions of ourselves that are here and now. Rather, it's our future together. The two of us happily laughing, smiling, growing old. It takes me only an instant to understand. She's the one imagining it, sharing this with me, the same way that the fairies did. This isn't just a wish or a possibility. It's a promise. Both in my mind and in the real world, I take her hands. I don't worry about Evelyn, because in my heart I know that we've already won. I look Abigail in the eye, and I say just two words. Oh my fucking god, I do. I focus on the feeling of her hand against mine and the knowledge that she's with me. I steady my breathing and face back toward the scene that Evelyn's conjured. Only now do I notice the imperfections there. Morgan's sweater is the wrong color, Tara's hair clips are in the wrong shape. Even the markings on Geldora's fur are different. You liar. Should have known, they were just more illusions. It's always illusions with her. I almost fell for the same trick twice, but it won't happen again. Before my eyes, the fake images flicker and then dissipate, vanishing entirely. For the first time, Evelyn takes a step backwards, shaken by my resolve. The spell she had been charging collapses into nothingness. She shudders yet again, harder than before. She shakes so hard it looks like she might fall apart. But she doesn't, and when she faces me again, there's still murder in her eyes. Evelyn takes a decisive step forward, and outstretches her hand toward me. She opens her mouth, bearing rows and rows of teeth at me. I feel Abigail press into my side, and the vision disappears. Just then, I spot Morgan running toward us, Gelladora in her arms, the real Morgan, with the real Gelladora. Well, isn't that timely? As they approach, I feel Gelladora's thoughts collide with my own. She sends me an apology for the signal, conveying in an instant everything that had happened. Then she sends me a request, along with two words. I'm ready. Oh, she's gonna become the Fairy Queen. Maddie, the lake. Even Evelyn turns around to see what Morgan's talking about. Then, without warning, Morgan turns and dashes into the pond with Gelladora still in her arms, submerging them both in the water as they vanish from sight. Tara skids to a stop, watching the spot where they disappeared as the shimmering surface of the pond scatters moonlight. I understand. For what I hope is the last time I draw up the magic that the fairies have entrusted me with, I coax it out of every nook and cranny of the forest. From the frozen ground under our feet to the highest reaches of the tallest trees, I implore the forest to help me. Within an instant, I can feel its response. From the fairies hidden just out of sight, from the forest spirit waiting forlornly in its grove, from Alma's mother, her child taken from her unfairly, from Morgan and Gelladora putting their fates in my hands, from the very moon itself. I move with the easy confidence of doing something that I know I was born to do. All of my short time as a fairy queen has been building up to this moment. I step forward, bolstered with energy, and no longer afraid. I feel out the gaping hole where Evelyn's mind should be, the black, vile reminder of the existence she forsook. Forsook! What a word, Maddie! And the lives that she stole. I find her like a roach, skittering and afraid, and I bind her. I'm sure that it sears her like fire. She shudders and shivers and quakes in the moonlight. Moon sickness. After that. Oh boy. I let go. I release it all of the magic and power that was given to me. I let it flow out of my fingertips on its way back to its rightful owner. I can see the arc of the magic as it descends into the lake, where I know Gelidora is waiting for it. Then, as the last vestiges of it leave my body, the vision of it disappears, and the warmth of the moonlight vanishes, leaving me cold. Is she going to go back to being a spirit again? The thousands of voices and consciousnesses quiet and then go still, leaving me all alone in my own head once more. My dress returns to its proper form as just a jacket, and the flowers wither and shrivel away into non-existence, not death. The crown on my head crumbles to dust, brushing past my ears before it's blown away. At the same time, Morgan resurfaces and swims to the shore where Tara's waiting for her. The moonlight is endlessly refracted through the water. Where it shimmers and sparkles, beneath the surface I can see her. Oh boy! Don't look like a cat anymore. Gelidora crests back through the surface, her true form restored as she's accepted the mantle of Fairy Queen once again. A shining dress the color of fresh-born snow adorns her, glittering as brightly as the stars overhead. Water streams down her in little rivulets, some turning to ice or frost on the way. She looks very magical. She's breathtaking. My dress was pretty, but it didn't suit me nearly the same way the role of Fairy Queen seems to suit her. Even Evelyn is speechless. Gelidora closes her eyes for just a moment. Her breathing slows almost imperceptibly, but just enough that I involuntarily step backwards. Her movements mirror the ones I performed just moments ago. Gelidora's stance is more experienced, more graceful, but I recognize it. She's calling upon the forest's magic. Then she raises one hand high. The moon seems to glimmer at her fingertips. Oh, that is quite the expression. In one swift motion, she slices downward, moonlight trailing behind her. Pierces Evelyn like a spear, fatal and true. Her whole body convulses as her moon sickness wreaks its terrible havoc on her. Her flesh bubbles and rolls as it tries to escape the dying spirit within. It's a gruesome sight, and I look away, turning instead to Abigail. Yeah, it sounds pretty fucked up, man. She holds me tightly. As I watch Gelidora approach the shore, I can hear the buzzing of the fairies just out of sight as they start to return to greet their queen. Don't even have to be connected to the forest to know that it's rejoicing. It's over. We've won. So, are you guys human still, or what? I stand there on the shore, hardly daring to move. I keep expecting Evelyn to reappear, more powerful and furious. Or worse, for all of this to be an illusion as well. But it isn't. Not a trace of Evelyn remains, neither body nor soul. Gelidora stands on the ground where last was. Fairy Queen's eyes are closed in mourning. Not over losing Evelyn, of course, but over losing the fairy she had once been. I look down at myself in my regular clothes once more, and my flesh and my blood body. I shiver a little in the breeze. It's a miraculous feeling. So they are human. Okay, well, that's nice. Then I turn and pull Abigail toward me. As we wrap our arms around each other in the biggest hug imaginable, neither of us say anything. We don't have to. From the side of the lake, Morgan and Tara approach us. Tara's limping, leaning on Morgan for support. They both look a little bruised, but not too badly off. Abigail and I walk over to meet them. Oh, look at them. They're all happy. You did it, huh? You really did it. Yeah, we did. It's still sinking in.
Morgan, Tara, are both of you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm good too. Messed up my ankle when we got here, but it's nothing too bad. And your head. Hey now, I already said not to worry about that one. For better or for worse, it really is impossible to face Tara. She could have died several times within the last half hour, but here she is, cracking jokes. I really admire that about her. Are you sure you're all right, Morgan? You kind of just jumped into a lake. And it was totally badass. Yes, I'm positive. Thank you for worrying about me, though. That's what family's for. Well, geez. The two of them exchange a smile. As they do, I look up to the sky once again, and for just a moment I close my eyes. In my head, I offer a word of thanks to the forest for its protection and for everything it did for me. A chilly breeze blows in response. Yes. A loud buzzing fills the air, and we watch the swarm of fairies as they rush toward us from the trees. I step back to stand beside my friends as the fairies arrive. Joyously fluttering above Geladora's head, a bright smile illuminates her face as her people welcome her home. They don't speak, their need for human language now gone. They don't acknowledge me at all. I strain to try to spot Hey or Frio or Anon, but I can't. I'm sure they're there amongst the rest of the hive, but they don't pay me any mind at all. Maybe that's for the best. So this is, really cool. She and Morgan are both watching, somewhat awestruck. Oh yeah, they never saw the fairies, did they? When we get home, Mads, you've got to write an autobiography. Either that or the best novel ever. I'm sure you can make millions off the book deal. I wrap my arm around Abigail. I'm good. I've got everything I need right here. Oh, that's so fucking cheesy. Abigail grins, putting her arm around me in turn. Tara groans and makes an exaggerated gagging noise. Okay, if you're gonna be that sappy about all the time, then... Morgan interrupts, whatever the consequences will be, by leaning forward and kissing Tara on the lips. That shuts her up fast. Then we'll just have to outdo them, right? For maybe the second or third time ever, Tara looks like she doesn't know what to say. But in a good way. As we all laugh, Geladora approaches us, the rest of the fairies forming a cloud over her head. So, it's over. There's much to be done. The forest will need time to heal and recover. It will take years, but it will happen. Thank you, all of you. Mere words cannot express how grateful I am, how grateful the forest is. Especially to you, Morgan and Abigail. Your family has suffered so much over the years. That's right, Geladora was there with Morgan throughout everything. She's the only one who can even come close to really understanding what Morgan's been through, except for Abigail. It's over now, though. Just like the forest, it'll take time to heal and recover. But we'll be okay. I know you will. I'm sorry they're the same voice. I didn't even realize. Geladora faces away from me, looking out toward the forest at large and toward the waiting cluster of fairies, her domain and her people. What about the folks back in Eisenfeld? What'll happen to them? I imagine they'll recover from the glamour rather quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even remember Evelyn's existence. There might be some difficulty as they figure out who will manage their affairs. She turns back to us now, smiling. In particular, she looks at Morgan. But I don't imagine any of you will be around to concern yourselves with that. Right. At the same time, Morgan and Tara reach for each other's hands. They smile at each other, meeting halfway. And you, Abigail, are you looking forward to leaving? Certainly. I've heard so much about the rest of the world from Madison and from Tara already, that I can't wait to see it myself. Although I'm a little nervous about, what were they called? Airplanes. Yes, those. I do hope they're safe. It looks to me for some... What the fuck would happen if the plane just crashed while they were all in it? Oh my god. I put my arm around her. It'll be fine, I promise. She'll have a lot to get used to in the modern world, but it seems like she's just as excited to experience as I am to show it to her. Even Morgan will have some acclimating to do after spending her whole life with Eisenfeld's limited amenities. That's fine, though. As Morgan mentioned, we have so much time. Fairy Queen smiles at us again. I see. If you don't mind, I'd like to show you just one last bit of magic. Something long overdue. Four of us look at each other, then nod in assent. Lead the way. Geladora takes us around the pond to the far side. Right to the boundary of bare ground and covered snow, she kneels down, scraping together a mound in her hands, while the rest of the fairies watch from above in reverent silence, their usual keening muted for now. The ball of snow in Geladora's hands is shaped and smoothed out as she alternates between scraping and patting it. Soon I realize the form it's taking, that of one of the fairies. Geladora then gathers several other materials from the forest debris, pine needles, a soggy leaf, a couple tiny pebbles, and even more objects that I can't see. She arranges the pebbles on her snow sculpture to form a face. Then she deftly weaves together a few sodden pine needles and ties them around the back of the head. I realize that they're supposed to be glasses, or at least an imitation of them. Madison, it's you! As Geladora wraps the leaf around the snow fairy, I realize that Abigail's right. It's not an exact replica, of course, but it's definitely supposed to be me. Once it's complete, Geladora lifts the tiny model from the ground, holding it in her cupped hands like a treasure. For a second, I think she's going to hand it to me, but she walks right past and heads to the shore of the pond. With her back to us, she lifts her arms, holding the tiny sculpture aloft. The moonlight shines down on her, illuminating the snow in her hands. The air around them starts to glimmer and sparkle, the light of the moon refracting off of nothing. Geladora's whole body glows with the soft white aura that's brightest in her hands. Then the little fairy in her hands flutters to life and flies into the air. After just 2 beats of its fragile wings, it turns and joins the rest of the swarm, where it's immediately accepted into the fold. The fairy queen turns back to face us, the sparkling magic now calm once more.
A tribute in your honor. This was the first birth of our people in over a century, ever since I was first bound. Through this little one, your memory will live on in these woods.
Thank you. It's an honor, really. It's a bit strange to me that she'd choose me as the model rather than Morgan, whom she knows much better, or Abigail, who's far more intimately connected with the forest. After all, it's not like I did a whole lot as Fairy Queen. Still, the gesture is touching. I watch the little fairy for as long as I can, until it's assimilated into the rest and impossible to keep track of. Tara's positively green with envy.
Before you leave tomorrow, will you come join me for a final time? We have one last farewell to make.
She looks at Abigail as she says it. Abigail's eyes widen, and then she nods. Got a late train, so it's easy to do. You already got us tickets home? Hell yeah, one of us has to be on top of things around here. She smirks, and I playfully smack her shoulder. Going home. Just the thought of it is exciting. The prospect of returning to our normal lives without having to fight for them. By now, it feels like kind of a dream. But for once, one that I know will come true. Oh god, hello. Once again, I wake up before Abigail does. Bed isn't even close to big enough for both of us, but it didn't stop us from getting a full night's sleep. She lays nestled against my side, breathing peacefully while I contemplate the sunlight streaming in. No matter where Tara and I travel to, I'm always looking forward to going home. That's especially true now. It feels weird to imagine that this time tomorrow I'll be on a plane over the sea. We still have a long day ahead of us, though. Our train doesn't depart until the afternoon, and then it's hours to the city. At least it'll be much more cheerful than my trip out here, when it was just Tara and me. For as long as I can, I just remain in bed, cuddling close with Abigail. It's so nice to be able to just turn off my brain and relax. No deadlines, no threats, no flickering in and out of existence. Peace. It isn't too long before her eyes flutter and drift open. She yawns, cuddling even closer to me. Without moving the rest of my body, I turn my head to face her and our noses brush together. Morning.
Good morning, Madison.
How'd you sleep?
It was the best sleep I've had in 200 years.
She smirks and I laugh too. That joke never gets old. Fitting. Abigail moves in closer, draping herself across my arm and shoulder like a cat. Her hair falls across my face and I blow it away with a playful puff of air.
What about you?
Better than I have in months. It's true, we both passed out pretty quickly after getting back to the cabin last night. Even the excitement of the day's events couldn't keep us up.
Will our bed in America be this comfortable?
Oh, it's even better. Although BT, our cat, really likes to sleep up there, so you might have to fight him for the spot. BT will have to find somewhere new to sleep because I don't want to share you. Oh shit. She shoos away an imaginary cat with one hand. I love her. Maybe he'll be like Morgan. She's got to be used to having cats around. Maybe he'll like Morgan. She's got to be used to having cats around by now. Geladura counts, technically.
Our home will be so lively, won't it?
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
Me either. Oh, it's still going. The sounds and smells of Morgan and Tara preparing breakfast wafting through the bedroom eventually stir us back into gear. I pack what little clothes I brought while Abigail gets dressed. Good morning. Yowdy, y'all. Please don't ever say that again. But good morning.
Hello, what are we eating today?
Wow, you don't waste any time, huh?
I've wasted a lot of time not eating, and I intend to fully make up for it.
You're in luck. I brought over all the food I had at home, so there's plenty. She sets a platter of pastries on the table, and Abigail immediately dual wields a butterfly muffin, yeah. A blueberry muffin and an everything bagel. Wait, you already went all the way back to town and back and made breakfast?
Yes.
Isn't she amazing? Morgan blushes. That might be the first time I've witnessed that. She is. Cheeks full of food. Crumbs litter the table. The aftermath of Abigail's enthusiastic eating. I've never met someone so delighted just to be eating food.
Have as much as you like. I'll bring the rest with us on the train.
I'm not sure we're gonna have to worry about leftovers. Abigail grins in agreement. After we finish, I help take all the dishes back into the kitchen and set them by the sink. Morgan starts washing them right away.
I'm not sure who I'm washing these for, but it feels wrong to just leave them dirty.
What'll happen to this place once we're gone? She shrugs.
I'll leave the key in my shop. I don't really care beyond that. It's nice not to have to.
She wipes the plates dry with a towel, and then we go back to the living room. The rest of the cabin is already immaculate. The blankets are folded, the furniture is realigned, everything is in its place. I'd even say it's tidier than the day we arrived. I give my bedroom a final once-over, looking for anything I may have left behind. Of course, there isn't anything. I shut the door behind me. The action has a sense of finality to it. Everyone else is waiting for me in the living room. So we're gonna go out into the woods one last time, right?
Yes, I need to say goodbye to a friend.
Wow, you know someone else in the forest? Is it Elvis? You're never gonna let that go, are you?
Who's Elvis?
Don't worry about it, Tara's just being dumb. Aren't I always? You've got me there. Anyway, you'll see when we arrive. I don't want to spoil the surprise, plus I want Abigail to be able to share a peaceful farewell, especially remembering what she told me before about the Fairy Queen and the Forest Spirit. We head outside and into the forest. For the first time since we got to Eisenfeld, it's not that cold out. In fact, it's even a bit warm. I wonder if that's coincidence, or if it also has something to do with Evelyn being gone. Neither would surprise me. We haven't gone very far when Gelidora suddenly appears, popping into sight just a few feet away. Her arrival is silent, no smoke or sound or anything like that, just 1 second it's empty, and the next she's there.
Good morning.
Morgan and Tara both flinch at her sudden arrival, but Abigail and I are unaffected.
I've been waiting for you. I could feel the four of you enter the forest.
That's awesome, so your fairy sense started tingling? Gelidora tilts her head, perplexed. Tara really needs to learn her audience out here.
Anyway, if you're prepared, I'll take you all the rest of the way. It would take far too long to walk.
The five of us join hands, Gelidora standing between Morgan and me. Her hands are cold, but not unpleasantly so. In the time that it takes for me to blink, we're teleported to the grove of ancestral trees. Even without being one with the forest, the magic in this place is palpable. It soaks into the earth and trees, and the air is sweet. We approach the ancestral grove with careful, quiet steps. The destruction that Evelyn caused is more prevalent here. Streaks of ash still blemish the surrounding trees, painful reminders of the one she slew. Just ahead, I can see the clearing where I know the forest spirit will be. Gelidora steps aside, gesturing for Abigail and I to continue on. We do. When the spirit comes into view, I can hear Tara gasp from behind me. The spirit looks even weaker than the last time I saw it. If previously it looked old, now it looks downright ancient. Its once terrifying eyes have lost their luster, its wooden body is even more knotted and warped than before, and it's so small. Is this your friend? Without turning around, Abigail nods.
For all these years we've been together, it was the forest spirit who saved my soul when Evelyn came for my body.
Abigail reaches out a hand, going to the forest spirit's side. Like every time before, I also keep my distance.
Abigail. I know. It's time, isn't it?
Gelidora nods. The forest spirit peers down at the girl by its side. I'm sure that it loves her back. Abigail takes a single step backwards, and Gelidora moves to her side. Then the Fairy Queen raises a palm and presses it against the forest spirit. The sensation of magic gathering is familiar to me by now, even though this time it's flowing past me, not into me. Gelidora calls life from the surrounding trees. Here, where life is more vibrant. The ground ripples under our feet, surging with unseen power. The sunlight beaming onto us feels warmer. Everything is gloriously happily alive. Forest Spirit's twisted form starts to change and morph. Not in a painful way like how Evelyn died, but much more peaceful. Jagged shards of wood soften and retract. Its two legs start to stitch themselves together into one solid trunk. Its arms stiffen, reaching outward and upwards, slowly regaining the colossal height that it once possessed. Roots appear and bury themselves underground as the forest floor itself rises a little to accommodate. I remember now that Abigail mentioned before that one of the Fairy Queen's duties was to help the forest spirits pass on. And with Gelidora missing for so long, it was impossible. I wonder how many decades or centuries this one had existed before meeting Abigail. No wonder all the trees here have such vibrance. No wonder this is the center of life in the forest. Just like the process that made me Fairy Queen, there's little pomp and flair to the transformation, but instead it feels intimate and calm. When Gelidora retracts her hand, and the magic dissipates once more, everything is still and silent. Aww. Abigail falls to her knees at the base of the newborn tree. The spirit's great eye slowly slides down the trunk, a final magical motion until it's level with her face. Despite the tears in her eyes, Abigail manages to smile.
Hello, old friend. Thank you for everything you've given me. Not just company, but another chance at life itself. I'll miss you, I really will, more than I'll miss anything else here. I'm sorry I wasn't around much lately, but I hope that you know I was very happy. Even when it was just us, even when there was no one else.
She reaches up, touching her hand to the tree just like the Fairy Queen did, except it isn't a regal, powerful touch. It's delicate and soft. She presses her forehead against the tender bark, not bothering to wipe away the tears.
And I hope that you know that I'll be even happier now. You don't have to worry about me. I'll be okay.
Abigail remains there for a long moment. The forest spirit's eye watches her as best it can for as long as it can. Slowly it goes dim. The red light fades to gray and then to the same plain brown as the rest of the... Oh, shit. Everything good? I just accidentally kicked a wire. It's the rest of the tree. Within moments, it's indistinguishable from the rest of the forest. Abigail looks back up and notices the change. She brushes her hand across the sightless eye and then rises to face Gelidora.
Thank you.
I'm sure you made its life that much more wonderful as well.
I hope so. Tara, do we still have time before we have to board our train?
A couple hours, yeah.
If it's no trouble, I'd like to return to the Fairy Grove one final time.
I'd be happy to take you. Tara and Morgan nod in approval. They've both been keeping pretty quiet, although that's only unusual for Tara. Still, I'm glad that she's being considerate for the solemn mood. Once more, Gelidora takes our hands and transports us to the fairy clearing. There's no evidence here of what took place last night. While there aren't any deer this time, a few birds are in their nests. All's right in the grove. It's a little strange not to instantly feel the presence of the fairies in my head. I'm sure they're close by, but like usual, they keep their distance. As soon as we regain our balance, Abigail wordlessly starts to head for the shore. Tara taps me on the shoulder. Hey, me and Morgan are going to take a walk. Give you two a couple minutes.
Sure, thanks.
The two of them set off at a leisurely pace around the water. Gelidora goes with them. She and Morgan will surely want to say goodbye as well. Abigail's already down by the water, and I move to join her. Her hand grasps mine, and she squeezes tightly. She breathes in deeply. I do the same. The air is crisp but refreshing. This place has been so special to both of us that I'm a little bit sad to leave it behind as well. I know that's nothing compared to how Abigail must feel. I don't speak. I'm sure that in her heart, Abigail's saying her final goodbyes to this place. I'll let her be the first to speak. We stand there in comfortable silence for a while, hand in hand.
I said before that I had come to love the forest as much as I possibly could, but now when we're about to leave, I realize that I was wrong. Because I love it more now than I ever have before. It isn't that I wanted to stay, but rather that I never had the opportunity to miss it, and now on the eve of my departure, I'm sure that I will. I think there's a certain kind of love that comes from having something, but there's a different kind of love that can only come from losing it.
To my surprise, she isn't crying. In the past when we've talked like this, it's been accompanied by tears, both joyful and sad. But now when I look over at Abigail, she looks determined to be happy. Just because you leave something behind doesn't mean you've lost it. It just means you have to learn to love it in a different way. When you look back on something and it makes you smile, that counts too. Love isn't just about moving forward, sometimes it's about looking back. This place will always be special to you, and to me, in different ways. What if I forget? What if someday I can't look back and remember what it looks like? What if I can't remember how it felt the first time we kissed? What if I forget how happy I am right now? Even if you forget, you'll still carry it with you. It's still a part of who you are. It made you the person you are today. The memories aren't what's important. What's important is how they help you grow. We go quiet again after that. I surprise even myself with those words. When I look back, 5 or 10 or even 50 years from now, I wonder how I'll feel about this time in my life. Not just the forest and all the magical things that have happened, but everything that led up to it. Working on Terranormal and All that we accomplished there, all the dreams that I put aside for it, but also the new ones that it instilled in me. I still have a lot to figure out, and feelings to sort through, but now the future doesn't seem too ominous and scary. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. From behind us, I can hear the sounds of Morgan and Tara approaching once more from their walk. I squeeze Abigail's hand, and she starts to lead me back toward our friends.
Come on, let's go home.
All aboard. The train conductor yells out his iconic line, and there's a loud hiss as the train begins to move. I feel like something out of an old-timey film, but I suppose that's more appropriate for how our journey has gone so far. Beside me, Abigail sits with a white-knuckled grip on the seats, alternating between staring out the window and making sure the ground is still beneath her. Across from me, Tara and Morgan sprawl across each other, all pretenses of not a couple abandoned. As for me, I drink it all in with a smile on my face. Every one of us deserves this. We pull out of the station, and I gaze out the window alongside Abigail. On the way in, I remember how scary and foreboding the forest looked, and how it felt like entering another world. Now on the way out, I certainly won't miss it, but I'm not afraid anymore. I wonder if Gelladora is watching us somewhere out there. Hey, Mads. Of course, Tara's the one to break the silence. How proud do you think my folks will be that I finally got around to adding forged government documents to my criminal record? I just have to laugh. Can't even be mad at her for this one, because there's no way we're getting Abigail into the country otherwise. I'm not sure how she did it. Maybe that's a brand of magic on her own. What will be the first thing we do when we get back? Asks Abigail. Oh, you know we're gonna party. From where her head rests upon Morgan's lap, Tara still manages to strike a pose. Got New Year's coming up, plus Maddie's birthday is the day before. Both Abigail and Morgan's eyes widen. I try to brush it off. Every year Tara swears we're going to go all out for my birthday. Every year she takes like 2 drinks and passes out, or falls out of her bar stool, whichever comes first. Morgan, Abby, both of you drink, right? I do. It's been quite a long time since I have, of course, but I'm certainly partial to it. Both know what that means then, right? Tara's question is met with 3 blank stares. Drinking contest. Oh god, Tara, not again. Come on, you're okay with Morgan and Abby watching you drunkenly sing MCR, right? Damn! Ah! Oh, she said it. I'm not okay. Ha ha! Ha ha! I see what you did there, Studio Elon. While Tara launches into an extremely exaggerated version of my last birthday party for Morgan and Abigail's benefits, I find myself looking out the window, watching the world go by once again. There's so much that I'm looking forward to when we get home. Teaching Abigail about the world going back to school. I'll also do my best to help Morgan take over my duties on the show. Maybe I'll even come back to guest star in an episode or 2. For so long, I wanted the world to slow down. Just a little bit, so I could catch up. Figure things out. Figure myself out. If there's one thing that being dead and hearing Abigail's stories taught me, it's that I don't want to look back later with regret. Just like I told her at the lake. We have a lot of good memories left to create. I intend to savor every minute of them. I listen to the conversation, laughing along even while I daydream about the future. My heart is happy here, even if my head's in the clouds right now. Abigail leans into my side, giggling at some joke whose punchline I missed, but I smile all the same. She'll make an optimist out of me yet. If there's one thing that we have now, it's time. And as for everything else, well, I'm sure the world won't mind if I keep waiting just a bit longer. Is that it? I think that might be it. Sure seems like it. Heart of the Woods. Well, guys, we did it. This is a really long episode. I think what I'm gonna end up doing, I may try to split this into 2 episodes. It's beautiful, this music. I may try to split this into 2 episodes. I don't know. We have enough time here for 2 episodes. So we'll see. I don't know. I've never done that before. I'll see if I see how that works out. Yeah, that was very interesting. It's really good. Not a lot of choices. So the only visual novels I've ever really gone through are The Letter and His Chinibyo Can't Be Cured, and they both had a lot of choices, especially The Letter did. So it was kind of weird to see a visual novel without a whole lot of choices. And it was interesting. I kind of like just having the story and not necessarily having to worry about making the right calls too often. But yeah, that was really good. It was kind of Disney-esque. Not quite. It was a little much for Disney, I would think. But, it definitely feels like a fairy tale, and I know that was kind of how it was, not marketed, but, like, described. It was meant to kind of be like a modern-day fairy tale. So that's that. One of the really cool things about Heart of the Woods is that there is currently, as of me recording this, there is currently a Kickstarter going on, which I think goes till the end of October of 2019. And what they're doing is they want to voice act it. They want to get voice actors for it. They've already casted voice actors. And they just need the funding to do it. And that's really cool, so definitely go support that if you can. The idea being that there's going to be a Switch version. It's going to come out on Switch. So currently it's just a Steam game on the PC. But it's going to be coming out on Switch at some point. I'm not exactly sure when, but the Switch version is happening no matter what, whether they fund the voice acting or not. But then the voice acting will be patched in here, and will also be available on the Switch version. So that's really, really cool. Definitely go check that out. Yeah, patrons. Not me. I wasn't one of them. But Tiof, I don't know how to say his name. The very first one was, that's the guy from Yang Yang Studios. Yang Yang, the guys that did The Letter and Love Esquire, I think. No cryptids were harmed in the making of this game. I would hope not. So yeah, I don't know if I split this into 2 episodes or not. I'm gonna play around with it. I don't know if there was really a spot to do that or not. I can't really remember, but thank you for playing. You are so welcome for playing. So this may be episode 14, this may be episode 15. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I think we're gonna get booted back over to the title screen. We sure are. Sure looks... Oh no, Madison, look, there it is. Abigail reaches out the open window to point at the ocean, sparkling in the summer sun. My heart pounds as I hear the pure joy in her voice. The instant the train pulls to a complete stop, she and Tara bolt for the door. Morgan grins at me and stands to follow them. I'm right behind her. All right, gang, this is it. Smell that air. Feel that ocean breeze. Look at those crashing waves. I told you this place was awesome. She looks back at us to make sure we're all as overjoyed as she is. With all her excitement, you'd think she was the one who had never seen a beach before. This is... Her voice trails off as her head swivels around. Still trying to take it all in, I silently step up behind her and take her hand. She doesn't look at me, but the small squeeze she gives my hand is all I need to know she appreciates it. Oh, Morgan did something very different with her hair over there. Pretty incredible, huh? She closes her eyes and tilts her head up towards the sun, taking in the summer glow. It's better than I ever dared to imagine. For a moment, I'm reminded of the glow that surrounded her the first time we read together. Was that the first time my heart stopped when I looked at her? It's happened so often that I've lost count. By now, I've known her as a human for longer than I knew her as a ghost. But she's still got the same otherworldly beauty she had back then. Thank you, Madison. Abigail looks back to me and smiles. For everything. I know the kiss is coming before Abigail even starts to move, and I'm more than ready for it. I wrap my arms around her and let her lips press against mine, our bodies perfectly pressed together. You were worth the wait. We touch our foreheads together, fingers intertwined. There's no need to say anything else. For once, Tara waits for us to finish before interjecting. But the instant we separate, she's back to her boisterous self. You guys coming or what? Morgan puts her arm around Tara's shoulder as she waves us on. Not missing a beat, Tara pushes her long hair to the side so Morgan can kiss her cheek. Come on, I'll race you there. You're on. Those two turned out to have a surprising amount in common. Whatever store of energy they both draw from seems to be infinite. Morgan and I go at a much more similar pace, although she's even more enthusiastic about going along with Tara's craziness. Love does that, I guess. You go ahead, babe. I'll catch up. Me too. My swimsuit definitely isn't built for sprinting. Abigail gives me a nod and another quick peck. Tara tries to do the same, but Morgan pulls her in for a full-on kiss. When she pulls away, Tara looks completely stunned. Better hurry, Abigail. Don't waste the head start. It's the first time I've ever seen a kiss used to give someone a tactical advantage. I can respect that. Abigail takes off running while Tara blinks away her daze before dashing after her. No fair. Yes, it is. You have longer legs than mine. Morgan and I are left in the dust, both chuckling at our overzealous partners. I doubt either of us expected someone so energetic to be such a perfect fit. We should probably go after them. Lead the way. both take off behind our girlfriends, entering the water and rushing to their arms. I can barely feel the cold of the water as Abigail's warmth envelops me. And here I thought you were going to keep me waiting again. We lean in for a kiss at the same time, our lips pressing together in a deep, warm union. Don't you worry, Abigail. I'll always be right behind you. The smile she gives puts the sunlight to shame. I know, Madison. I know. We done for real this time? I think we are. Yeah, we are. Alright, guys. Well, that ends the series of Heart in the Woods. I'm definitely going to split this into 2 episodes. I have to. This episode is almost an hour and a half. Holy shit. Alright, so yes, that's it. There's really nothing else to say. I enjoyed it. It's a visual novel. What do you expect? It's not much gameplay to it other than those 3 decisions. It'd be interesting to see if there's any change. Like, if you choose, whatever else you choose, if it changes what happens. But, you know, I guess we'll find that out. I'll find that out sometime on my own. But we're going to go ahead and end the series here. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. And make sure you're subscribed for whatever comes next. In this slot, I'm doing some rearranging of my schedule. So there probably won't be a new game that fills this slot. It'll probably be an old game that fills this slot. Or an existing game. But yes, make sure you're subscribed for whatever else you decide to watch on this channel. And I hope to see you then. Goodbye.